Hello and welcome to the CNBC TV 18 EBIX Cash Studio. I'm Sumaira Abdi and you're watching MF Corner. It's the last mutual fund show for this year, and so it's an appropriate time for us to take stock of which funds and which fund houses have actually managed to create wealth for investors this year. So joining in, we have Feroze Aziz, Deputy CEO at Anand Rathi Wealth, who did the study for us also last year, and he joins in to detail the hits and misses for this year, and we'll also end with his fund recommendations for the coming year. So make sure you watch till the end. Hi Feroze, good afternoon. Let's kick it off with the categories which have created alpha this year. Have some type of fund categories done better than others?
Hi, Sumaira. I think you're wrapping up the year with a very, very important topic, which is what's the kind of value generated by fund managers whom each of us as investors pay a fee. Firstly, let me give you the headline number, which is very interesting and eye-opening for several people who would have probably gone the passive way. Out of the 317 actively managed funds which are analyzed, 181 of them have generated alpha, and 251 have generated alpha over not the respective benchmark, over Nifty. This is very, very surprising because 60% of them generating alpha, and the last 2-3 year narrative has been that alpha is dead in India and fund managers are not able to beat their own benchmarks, or nor have they been able to beat Nifty. So 80% of them beating Nifty is great. And 181 of those funds beating their respective benchmark, point one. I think coming to which categories have done better, you'd be surprised to know 3 categories: dividend yield, small cap, and large and mid cap. All of them in these 3 categories have beaten Nifty, all schemes. And 86% of the dividend yield schemes have beaten their own respective benchmarks. So this has been a year of alpha reversal. There have been negative alphas in 1 or 2 year periods before this year, and that has been undone. Like how? Because there's almost about 12% alpha over Nifty these 251 schemes have given. 12% is like the cost which you would save for the subsequent 12 years done in a year.
So, Feroze, a couple of questions more. First is, let's break the suspense. Which are the AMCs which have created alpha? I mean, I guess pretty much everyone would be there. And, last year there were just less than 5. So this year a lot more have fared better. And what is the reason that, so much, so many more active funds have managed to do better this year?
See, last year was a very concentrated rally. It is only logical, a diversified platform is going to find it very difficult to beat in a market which has been concentrated rally, right? The top 10 stocks of Nifty contributed significant portion of Nifty performance, and so on and so forth. So this year, the rest of the businesses, rest of the stocks have actually contributed to performance, which is the logical way the market operates over long periods of time. So that's the reason why there's a huge turnaround in alphas. That's point one. Point two, when you look at 15-20 year data, you find years where there is very little alpha, like the last year or the previous year as well. And you would see a trend reversal. Like 2013 was a classic example where alphas had practically become negligible, and 2014 gave it back in very large forms and fashion. So I think these are the 2 very important variables which have determined this year's alpha. One is the cyclical nature of alpha, and the other is the broader market, unlike the previous year where there's 10 stocks of Nifty contributed close to about 60% or 65% of Nifty performance.
Feroze, also, now going ahead, benchmarks are going to get standardized across each category, right? But for now, if one was to do the study, since you have broken it up over alpha, which was created over benchmark, and alpha, which was created over Nifty, which is more relevant for, say, me as an investor?
Yeah, I think investing is all about simplifying life so that you can take rational decisions rather than emotional ones. And if you ask me as an investor, Sumaira, you should be bothered about what is the kind of alpha all your actions can generate over Nifty. Because if you ask somebody what's the level of Nifty mid-cap, I don't think most people would remember. What is the level of BSE 500? Nobody would have tracked it. So benchmarking to something which you don't know yourselves is not so logical. So if an investor says, I am going to have mutual funds chosen on the basic objective of creating a 2, 3, 4% extra return per annum over Nifty, that's a great, simple objective to have. I think that's most important. And that's what we have been doing at Anand Rathi, which may not be a fair comparison at a scheme level, but at a portfolio level, or your objective has to be to beat Nifty by 2, 3% per annum.
So this two lists where alpha over benchmark and alpha over Nifty, while there are some which figure in both lists, there are some which only figure in either one of them, right? Is that because of the benchmark that they have chosen?
See, what happens is any small cap scheme, for example, last year would have beaten Nifty hands down, because the broader market of small cap index itself delivered 50% or 55% return. And an investor is actually combining several schemes with one objective in mind to beat Nifty. So coming back to your point, the reason why some AMCs will figure, some AMCs will not figure, an AMC which has more small cap schemes, for example, or small cap skewed schemes, would form a part of the list which is being compared with Nifty. Some AMCs have been a commonality in both of them. If you look at Canara Robeco, HDFC, Franklin, Kotak, Invesco, and Nippon, these are really large AMCs who have beaten Nifty across all their schemes by 15% in a year. So large AMCs doing that is brilliant. And one AMC which stands out in both the lists is Quant. I think Quant has delivered close to 22% alpha over its benchmark. It has definitely made us as investors or experts to stand up and take notice of the performance of this relatively smaller AMC.
So, that begs the next question, because there are so many newer AMCs now, which are being launched. Is it, because small is doing well, large is doing well. So is there anything in terms of, the size of the AMC which matters in terms of performance, the style, because, some of the alpha creators from last year are missing in either of the lists this year. So is it also the, fund management style?
I think what matters is the style of the fund manager, the process of the asset management company. Third thing which matters is the agility. In a situation like last year and this year, where market has turned over its head, maybe once or twice. So it's very important that an asset management company has the agility and also the vigilance with their depth of research and the analyst strength to be able to be a part of the list last year and this year. I think the size of the asset management company is not the most critical, but the size of each scheme is very critical. Now, for example, Canara Robeco, we've been recommending 2 schemes in our 10 scheme model portfolio. They have created enormous alpha over Nifty. And they are not the largest AMCs. They don't figure in the top 5 AMCs. So I think it's going down, and devil is in the details. So going down to the last stock in a mutual fund helps you pick those schemes which will create the value and substantiate the 1.5-2% fee, which they end up charging over every year.
Okay. We're going to take a very quick break right now, but we're going to come back and continue this very interesting chat with Feroze on the other side. We'll also find out, how the bench strength of analysts at an AMC matters, and also what is the alpha generation capacity or capability over consistently longer periods. So all of that is lined up next, as well as the fund recommendations for 2022. Stay tuned.